Sonke?
All right, Commissioners, if there are no follow-up questions or discussion, we have a little over 30 public speakers. So the question is, how much time do you want to give public speakers? And
If I could ask, Sonke, I'd like to get commission staff's perspective on where this is.
And when you mean perspective,
Has our staff, not the department staff, but has the commission staff evaluated this and have any comments? You can wait till after the public or before.
after, we'll do it after then. All right, so the question again is, oh, sorry.
Commissioner Richards?
Thank you, Richard. I would like to, this, needless to say, a lot of motions and complex here, but the one technical issue that it keeps being raised that I'm unclear of, and I'd like to hear at least from, I'm not sure who, our attorneys or department staff, is this allegation that the proposals that we have in front of us are mandated by our settlement. I heard the gentleman from the Pacific Legal Foundation, and I also think I heard one of the opponents to this, both make allegations that in fact it was not required, and that in fact it was a department generated process to expand the boundaries. So I'd like to get some clarity on that before we hear the public comment, if that would be okay.
Before you hear public comment?
I think so. It helped me because I think we're going to hear more of that from the public, so I'd like to kind of help that process.
So I see some movement in the peanut gallery from department staff. Does that mean it looks like Stafford
Laird, have you
Lairs,
been in the peanut gallery?
he's going to give us an attempt to answer your question.
Thank you, Commissioner Richards, Stafford Laird, Department of Fish and Game. In the interim court order that was issued in November of 2008, Judge Marlette identified private stocking as an issue, and the interim court order, I don't have it verbatim, but to paraphrase it, stated the department shall not issue any new private stocking permits. However, you can renew a permit if it has been an existing permit in the previous 5 years. That's where the issue was suddenly called out in the interim order that was issued in November 2008.
And thank you. Then what is it that he's referring to that he felt didn't say that? Do you know?
I would have to refer to counsel. The original order.
The original order.
The original order.
Nancy, could you state your name?
My name is Nancy Murray, Staff Counsel with the Department of Fish and Game. And the original order from Judge Marlette directed the department to do an EIR and left it to us to then develop our own program description.
Okay, and then subsequently to that, there was a follow-up order that said to include all private ponds in state waters.
After the judge issued his tentative ruling, CBD, Pacific Rivers, and Stanford Legal, we all got together because we said there's some issues with his tentative rulings relative to federal preemption. He said, fix the federal preemption, you people go and fix this idea that you're not possibly going to do your entire program. You have to cover this private stocking also. That's when I had never heard of private stocking. We put it in because he said it had to be there.
Okay, thank you.
Nancy, while you're up, and Rick, I'd like you to, from both of you, if the commission today does not accept department's recommendation today, does that put us at any risk from your perception, or is it, in other words, are we hearing that we have to do this today, or do we have some flexibility on figuring? I just think this is kind of, my opinion, it's rushed, and I'm just not confident on moving forward yet. So do I have any risk? Do we have any risk by not moving forward today? In your opinion?
In my opinion, your risk existed shortly after the 1991 exemption was adopted. That's the illegal exemption that would be risky. You've had your risk since 1991.
Right. So we have to address that risk.
Right.
Right. And we as a commission, we enabled those private stalkers to continue without addressing it, and now we're trying to address it now. And I think something needs to be addressed, but I just don't know if moving forward today is the right approach. So do we have time to give a reasonable address, or does the department and or Rick, you feel the best thing is to do this today, or we have other alternatives to address this risk we've had since '91?
Rick, please go ahead.
Okay. I think the notion of how you address the risk is up to the commission. The fact that you undertake a process by which you examine whatever programs you want, including the department's proposal, put it out there and consider how you want to proceed on that is, I think, the appropriate and prudent thing for the commission to do. I don't think just as a hypothetical, if you took this proposal, went to notice on it, and took that step, whether or not you adopt it, but you have that discussion, came up with something entirely different as a result of that discussion, that process, as you engage in that, I don't think a court is going to be troubled by having that process go forward. I think that the place where you exacerbate your risk would be if now that this is in front of you and then you turn your back on it and you just simply walk away.
Mr. President.
So what I'm hearing is, it sounds like we need to do something, but we don't have to necessarily accept. And I think the department tried to address it quickly, and per the stuff that 91 happened, they try to correct it. But I'm not confident in how we've reached out to the other people we pulled into that risk, the private stalkers. It's just been fast. So I'd like to see a response that more engages them in figuring something out that's the benefit for everybody.
It's perfectly within the purview of the commission to ask the department to further study this issue and bring it back to us when they are ready. That is one of the alternatives, of course, we could do.
Mr. President,
I think we probably need to go to
let me just follow up on that, Mr. President, because I think you're onto something, you and Commissioner Bayless. We have a situation here where we've apparently been operating an illegal exemption from regulations for 20 years. The industry, meanwhile, has relied upon that in good faith because it was what we adopted years ago by regulation. If we're going to make changes to that, it might make sense to do it slowly and not try to fix it all at once, but to phase in a new set of regulations that would, come into compliance with the statute. Right. We've seen this kind of thing before, and to try to fix it all at once is not always the best recourse.
I understand that. I think we need to go to public comment at this point, but I think I need to go on record right now. I am a landowner in the state of California. I own a number of fish ponds. They are irrigation ponds. They happen to have fish in them. So I need to go on record about that. And I will be consulting folks to see if I need to recuse. At this point in time, I'm not.
Mr. President? Mr. President? Just the good news, this is excellent. I really appreciate your guys' questions and the dialogue we're having. The good news is under Agenda Item 9, you're simply going to be providing guidance today, so I think you have a full range of options before you, just to be clear, and also to the audience. And with that, Commissioner Rogers, we have just over 30 speakers.
I think we can do 2 minutes.
2 minutes
per,
a speaker.
Per speaker,
All
and
right.
we do need, in order to get all of our rest of our agenda through. And I understand the importance to everyone of this. I understand it personally. You simply need to line up, and please be very quick exchanging speakers.
All right. With that, Mr. Fisher.